Because Bitcoin is a decentralized and borderless currency that governments can't touch. It can solve so many problems in, for example, authoritarian and totalitarian regimes. Bitcoin is literally democracy. So it's a democratic concept, how it works and everything. So it can help in so many different ways. In activism, if you get your bank account frozen because you're going up against your government, then Bitcoin, for example, is a solution for you. It, of course, solves inflation. And then if, for example, you want to send money to someone who needs it like right now, then you can use Bitcoin as well. Or like after a natural disaster, for example, they need money, instead of going through a charity, you can go peer-to-peer. So in so many different ways.
Yes, and I also say that I'm as a libertarian, I say that we respect. There is a quote that our president says, that we respect the right to life and to property. And I think that Bitcoin is this human right that you have for property that nobody can take you. Because if you live in a country, for example, you can have a house, but if you live in a country when there is a war, of course, you lost your house. You cannot run, if you run away, you cannot take your house. Or even if they come, as you said, a totalitarian regime, you can lose your house, you can lose your money. Hello, this is the Bitcoin Libertarian. Our guest today is Kaitlyn Prince, a dynamic Gen Z voice in the Bitcoin space who's not just talking about the future of money, but actively shaping it. As a student of politics and international relations at SOAS University of London, Kaitlyn is on a mission to bridge Bitcoin with human rights, empowering the next generation to reclaim financial sovereignty. Inspired by trailblazers in the community, she's been diving deep into the Bitcoin rabbit hole through captivating interviews with young Bitcoiners, moderating panels at events like the Bitcoin Southeast Conference, and championing education initiatives that make Bitcoin accessible and exciting for kids and teens alike. From chatting with 9-year-old Bitcoin enthusiasts to exploring circular economies in global communities, Kaitlyn's work highlights how Bitcoin isn't just tech, it's a tool for freedom, learning, and real-world impact. Today, we will talk about her journey, her groundbreaking projects, and the unique ways Gen Z is redefining Bitcoin's role in our world. Kaitlyn, welcome.
Thank you so much. That was an amazing introduction. I don't think I've had an introduction like that in a while. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here, and thanks for being able to do the interview a little bit earlier, so I can go to sleep a little bit early because it's so late here in Hong Kong. But I love streaming, so for me it's not a problem. So let's go to the first question. The first question that I do to everyone is, Kaitlyn, how were you orange pilled?
I was orange pilled through my family, especially through my dad. My dad is a Bitcoin podcaster, and my mum is co-founder of Women of Bitcoin. So it's definitely a big discussion point in my family and in my household. And I'm very grateful to have a good financial education from a very young age as well. So I don't know, Bitcoin has been around us for 5 years now, maybe a bit more, and it's very much in our family dynamic.
It's amazing because I always say I'm single. I have no kids, but the day I have kids, one of the things that is not gonna be negotiable with the kid's mother is that the kid is gonna learn Bitcoin from day zero.
Of course.
Since they start learning to talk, they will learn about Bitcoin. And how is it growing? Because usually, in my case, we orange pill our parents or our relatives. But how is to be grown in a home where all the talks, or not all the talks, but all the financial talks are around Bitcoin?
It's so cool. I just automatically feel so much more financially aware. So right now I'm currently in university. I live by myself in London, and I feel very much further ahead than anyone else, and that's due to my how I've been brought up and my parents. So I'm very, very grateful. So yeah, no, I just feel like I'm 2 steps forward than anyone else, which is definitely a nice feeling to have.
what is the situation among your friends? Because sometimes I feel that my friends don't understand Bitcoin, and I'm
Mhm.
like a strange, like the black sheep. Are you together with your friends? Do your friends know anything about Bitcoin? Because at your age,
No.
it's all about going to the university, going to parties, not thinking too much about financial situation. And how do they talk with you if when you put the Bitcoin word in them?
Well, it has a bad reputation everywhere, and especially in Gen Z as well. Everyone knows about cryptocurrencies and how it's a way to get rich fast, but they don't understand the true the stuff behind Bitcoin. So conversations can be very difficult, for sure. But I keep on planting the seeds and hope that one day it will click. It's about educating yourself. So if you just keep on saying key phrases and keywords, then they might look it up in their own time afterwards. Hopefully.
And what do you think? Why Gen Z? Because of course, I'm from the generation. I'm a millennial, so I'm in the middle generation. I'm from the
Mhm.
generation who came from the analogic side and went through the digital change. Why is difficult, or why not so many Gen Z are into Bitcoin when you grew up with the phone, with the computer, with the digital revolution?
I guess it's just narratives. Narratives are the same for each generation, that it's a scam, that it will crash one day. Um, and so, yes, we've grown up in a digital world. We all have, like, the iPhone has been around when most of us have been born, but it's still very hard to wrap our heads around it, just like any generation. And it will come. It will come one day, and I hopefully it will come easier to my generation than it does to any other generation, because I would like to believe that we're more open-minded, and I feel like we understand um, um, the problems in the system, the current problems in the system, better than other generations as well. So one day we just have to keep our fingers crossed and wait.
Yes, one of the things that I try, because again, you are so young and you are at the university and your friends, of course, and probably you are not thinking at that time, because I was not thinking at that time 20 years ago about the retirement. But one of the things that is good for orange peeling people is to say, okay, if you save a little bit on Bitcoin every month, let's say 10
Mhm.
pounds, 20 pounds, probably in 20, 30 years, you will be retired. Do you see this, and do you talk this with your friends, or they don't
Definitely.
care?
No, they don't see it yet. They definitely don't see it. They don't even try to listen. They just like shut it down, and like as soon as you mention the word Bitcoin, they just don't want to listen. But you just have to keep on talking about it and keep on spreading the word.
And you study politics and international relations at the
Hmm.
university. And what is the relation between the teachers, the academic curriculum, and Bitcoin? Do you talk there, or you are just not so vocal about Bitcoin in the university?
Um, Not really. It doesn't come up in our lessons. Um, but I have written about it in one of my essays. My first essay last year, the question was, how does the banking system work in the UK, or how does the UK banking system create money? So I wrote in a whole essay on how it works, how it creates money, and then I kind of like counter my counter argument was Bitcoin fixes this. So I feel like they teach us how broken the system is, and they give us all everything to understand how bad it is, but then they don't give us a solution. And Bitcoin is the solution, and I just hope everyone can find the solution in their own time. So yeah, so we don't really talk about it, but I'm trying my best. And I wasn't marked down on my essay for that argument. My professor really liked it actually. So it's interesting.
Are any of your professors into Bitcoin, or they just
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
how would you feel if one of the professors say, "Okay, Kathleen, I want to learn about Bitcoin. Can you explain me?"
So excited. I would be so, so excited. And I feel like that would make a big difference in our lessons as well. Because once you fall down the rabbit hole, you have a very different perspective on everything. So I think that would be really interesting to see.
And another thing that I see, because I check in your Instagram, and I saw that your dad and your mom are super active on the Bitcoin space. And how uh is your, because one of the things that when you go to a conference of Bitcoin, the public is, most of the public are men. So
Mhm.
how do you feel inspired from your mom to be a woman, and a young woman, in Bitcoin?
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It definitely helps. And I think every woman in Bitcoin in the space is looking for that as well. Just looking for a group where you can talk, be comfortable and talk about Bitcoin and educate yourselves, like around a cup of coffee in a chill atmosphere. It's so important. Um, and yet you can definitely see at Bitcoin conferences the difference in numbers between men and women. And sometimes it can be very overwhelming and a little bit scary as well because you feel very out of place. Um, so yeah, so what my mum is doing is amazing. So inspired, and I hope she's inspired. Well, I believe she's inspiring so many other women to get into it as well. One of the things that people were saying to her beforehand was, "How do I get my wife to come to the events, to come to all the conferences?" Um, and she was like, just bring them along. And then she felt like she had to create an atmosphere for those women coming as well. So it's very nice. And we all
Yes,
pull each other up as well. So it's just a great atmosphere, and the vibe is amazing.
excellent. And you've been here in Hong Kong, because I met you at Hong Kong conference like
Hmm.
around 1 month and a half ago, and you
Yeah.
are working for a Japanese clothing brand. Can you tell us
Hmm.
about the project? How does it work?
Yeah, of course. So I was approached over the summer to come and work for this Japanese clothing company called Anap, and they've been around for a while. They were very fashionable in like the early 2000s. And then they kind of haven't been doing very well since then. So they put all of their assets into Bitcoin to kind of like keep them going. And then now they're rebranding, and it's going to be a completely Bitcoin company clothing brand, which is definitely something that you don't really see much of in the space. So it's a very ambitious project, and we hope to open a new gateway into Bitcoin for young women and for my generation as well, for Gen Z. Um, so yeah, it's really cool. We're releasing the whole entire brand at Bitcoin Japan in November, which is so exciting. So I'm going to Tokyo. I've never been before. So I'm excited to discover a new country and also discover the Bitcoin scene there as well. So yeah.
And the brand has, for example, is only the brand is made by Bitcoiners and they invest in Bitcoin, or the brand tends to send a message to orange pill the
Hmm.
people.
Yeah. So it sends a message. It'll be um, pieces of clothing or lifestyle products that have a small touch. So it won't be a t-shirt saying Bitcoin on it. It'll be like a small, if you know, you know message, but also it'll be done in a way for people who don't know what it is will look at it and be like, oh, this is cool. And then hopefully educate themselves on it afterwards. So it's a very very cool project, and I'm so excited to be part of it.
Nice. And what is your what do you do for the company? You are in the media. What are you doing?
Yeah, so I'll be brand ambassador for the Bitcoin side. So I'm very, very excited about that as well. And it's kind of, yeah, bridging fashion and Bitcoin together, which is unique, very unique.
Do you think that fashion is a good way to spread the message, especially among young generations?
Yeah, why not? I feel like we should use every way possible to spread the message. And I mean, that's a part of it. And it's a different way. And hopefully people won't get into Bitcoin because they're a crypto bro or they're into the tech side and financial side, but they find it in a different way and it will bring a lot more people into the space and hopefully a new vision as well.
And since you were grown in an environment that is Bitcoin only, you didn't
Hmm.
have any contact with any other kind of shitcoins last like most of us did when we were growing in the Bitcoin space. What do you think about the all these kind of shitcoins and all the things,
Hmm.
the altcoins that are going on that are going around Bitcoin?
So unfortunately, I did invest in Litecoin a while ago, but like a couple
Ah,
of years ago,
remember.
a couple of years ago. Um, but now it's yeah, definitely it's very, very different. Very different spaces, I feel. Let's put it that way. I feel a lot more safer in the Bitcoin space in every kind of way possible. I feel more secure. Yeah. And it's just a better space, like in general, I feel as well.
Now I remember that when I asked the question, what was your biggest mistake in
Yeah.
Bitcoin, was
Bitcoin.
that you invested in a shitcoin. Yes, and
Yeah.
all are the people from your generation involved into shitcoin because they think that they want to find their next coin that went, I don't know,
Exactly.
1000x or something like that.
Yeah, no, I feel like everyone gets into shitcoins before they get into Bitcoin these days. Because you see it on the media and you see like on TikTok or on Instagram, like how to get rich quick, invest in this coin, and then you do, and then you make some money off of that, and then you're like, oh, this is so cool, and then you find a different coin, and then a different coin, and this is all part of the like short time preference as well, that is embedded in my generation, in all generations really. So yeah, it's all about changing that vision and working towards a long time preference and Bitcoin.
And besides the education you got from your family, what are the how do you study Bitcoin? Do you read books? Do you listen to podcasts? Do you watch TikTok? What do you suggest for people in your age to start studying Bitcoin?
Yes, I read books. I should read more, to be honest. I should read a lot more books than I have. Um, read books, listen to podcasts. Also YouTube. I like watching YouTube videos because I mean I prefer watching something visually than listening. I mean I think it's another problem of my generation as well. We would much rather watch a video than read a book. Um, but yeah, there's so many resources out there, like everywhere. I also find X a good way to educate myself. Just scrolling through X. It's probably not good for me to scroll. Anyways, and like there's a lot of debates on there, but it's fine. So yeah, there's just so much stuff out there, and you really have to dive in to find it all.
Yes, because as I know that not only your generation, like all of the people that is now on internet, the time span attention is super small.
No.
So probably you need to to get them in like just 1 minute, to catch them in a TikTok, on Instagram or whatever. So probably it's not easy, even for me. I'm 44, to watch a full podcast of 1 hour, to pay
Exactly.
attention to 1 hour podcast. So that's the way. Do you think that we need to create more this kind of short content, because we have the experience in Argentina for the last presidential election? The candidate who won the election, he was explaining economy in short TikTok, like in 1 minute TikTok. So he was explaining hard concepts of economy, of
Yeah.
ocean
Oh,
economy, in short TikTok, and he captivated with this all the young generation. For example,
that's so cool.
his TikToks. I don't use TikTok because he's banned here in Hong Kong, but his
Hmm.
I don't know how to say, his reels on TikTok, he reached like 4, 5, 10 million people, while the other
That's so cool.
candidates reach like 20,000 people. So do you think that there is, first of all, is there good content about Bitcoin on TikTok, or you think that there is a need to be created more content on that side?
So, first of all, I don't have TikTok because it's really bad for me. I just like sit in bed and scroll. Um, but I think there should be more because everyone is on TikTok these days. And I don't know, a video on Bitcoin might just come up like in the algorithm, and then that's great. And then that probably orange pills only a couple of people, but at least we're getting the numbers up. I think there should be because podcasts are great, but like you say, they are really long, and sometimes it's not easy to stop what you're doing for an hour in a day and just listen to a podcast. So I definitely think that there should be more content, and you can see it on there. I know that people like Joe Nakamoto, Isabella, they're doing some really cool like short videos that they are posting on like on platforms like Instagram and TikTok, and I think that's the way to go. Definitely for my generation.
Yes, I am now. Because again, as I said, is banned TikTok here in Hong Kong, so I
Mhm.
cannot use. I can use the Chinese version of TikTok, but it, it's like called Douyin or something like that. But
Okay, very different.
it's all in Chinese. So it's not the
Mm,
same TikTok that people use. First of all, I cannot use because it's in Chinese. That's the point.
yes,
And second, it's not the same. It doesn't go to the same feed that all the TikTok. And now that I'm traveling to Argentina, I will be around 20 days in Argentina. I will buy. I need to buy a SIM card to use the phone there in Argentina.
yes,
Let's
to
see
change
if
it.
I can create some good stuff for TikTok in Spanish, because I'm growing my channel in Spanish to orange pill people. Because yes, I'm always thinking, and that's why I ask the people which kind of content you like, how
Hmm.
good people of your age, because again, we must try to orange pill the people of your age, because
I know,
it's the people of the future, it's the people that in a few years are
definitely.
going to be making decisions, and they will
Hmm.
need to be very well educated on finance. And how do you see the situation, the general situation of Bitcoin in the UK?
It's not great. It's not that great. We're working on it though. There's some amazing people here that have some amazing projects and that are pushing for it. Bitcoin Policy UK is doing an amazing job, and they're trying to orange pill the government, which is really cool. They went to the Labour Party conference not too long ago, um, and me and Harley, a friend of mine in the Bitcoin space, we also host their podcast, which is really, really cool. And it's kind of spreading the word out there a little bit more. We have a couple of cool Bitcoin conferences, but they're still very small because it's just not a thing here. But hopefully that will change very soon. Um, so yeah.
And I heard that you interview a guy, you had an interview series, and you interview a guy, a 9-year-old guy, about
Yes.
Bitcoin. how was the experience? Because again, it's like it's amazing. Like for me, it's amazing to be interviewing a person from your age because it's for me it's amazing. But how is interviewing a 9-year-old guy and talk about Bitcoin? And how did he? I don't know if it's he or she, but discover
Mhm.
Bitcoin at that young age.
No, it was amazing. So this was at the BSC conference in Bury St Edmunds, probably about a month, 3 weeks ago, a month ago. And so Monty, he's 9 years old, and he was the son of the organizer of the conference. And me and Harley, were doing some content creation for the conference and to try and boost it. And I was like, I need to interview him because he would have some really cool things to say. And it's crazy to see, like, to get into the brain of a 9-year-old that knows about Bitcoin. And so just like me, he's grown up around it. His dad is a Bitcoiner, so it comes up in conversation all the time at home, and it's crazy to see like how much he understands at such a young age. And it gave me so much hope for the next generation. It was really nice to see. Very cool.
Nice, nice, nice. It's incredible. And you have these interviews you have in some YouTube channel or some way online.
No, not right now. I've only posted them on X, but maybe I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I might. Why not?
I think you should because again I said that any one of us has a mission on Bitcoin. Some of us, we are not coders. We are not technical
Yeah,
people. For us, it's very, and some people think, oh, no, no, no. If to participate in Bitcoin or to be part of Bitcoin, I need to be a coder. And it's
no,
not. So
no.
to be in Bitcoin, you just come, you just can, again, record TikToks, do a podcast,
Mhm.
and we need a lot of these people because each one of us is a node of the Bitcoin network. And
Yeah.
as we know, more nodes is stronger the network, more democratic. And because I think that some people say there are a lot of podcasts now on Bitcoin. Every Bitcoiner now has a podcast. But I think that any each podcast has anything different to offer. Some people are
Mhm.
super technical. Some people they talk more about like financial or something like that. And so people just come talk about experience. Like me, I like to talk about experience of Bitcoiners and how to make this ecosystem grow
Yeah.
better. And have you done any other interviews besides the 9-year-old kid?
Yes, we did a couple at the conference that I'm just like rolling out really slowly on my X profile. But yeah, and then we've got the podcast that I'm working on right now for Bitcoin Policy UK, which is again another really cool project. And then hopefully maybe I'm working on bringing out a Woman of Bitcoin podcast as well, which will be really cool. But yeah, but like you say, I believe that there's a space for everyone in Bitcoin, and you just have to find your way. I got into it because obviously my parents orange pilled me, but I recently got really into it because of the human rights and the political side of it. And I believe that Bitcoin can play a big role in activism, in human rights. So yeah, everyone just needs to find their way into the space.
Yes.
And there's a podcast for each thing, like you say as well, and you just have to find them.
Yes. Now what I think that I'm trying to find, and it's something that I try to do is like we must start creating content because we have a lot of podcasts, a lot of content that is made to Bitcoiners. So it's like
Mhm.
I remember George Bodin. He told me like most of the podcasts now are like Bitcoiners around the campfire talking
Mhm.
about our
Yeah.
experience, how beautiful Bitcoin is. But I think that it's very difficult to create some kind of content to talk about for people who is not into Bitcoin, for these people who say, no, Bitcoin is a scam, Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. What do you think is the best way to answer to someone who says Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme or is a scam?
That's a very good question. I just shortest go with your shortest answer possible, if that makes sense. Because a long answer isn't going to get you anywhere, and they'll get bored and they won't listen to you. Um, just you've got to be direct, make it short, and be like, no, it's not, and then they'll figure it out for themselves. People don't like to be told what to do. They don't like to be told, oh, Bitcoin is good. You need to buy it. You need to get into it. They need to find it by themselves.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes, I think that you need to put, as I always do. I talk about Bitcoin 24/7, and I have my Instagram, the Bitcoin Libertarian Instagram, but I also have my personal Instagram, and I am not so direct on my personal Instagram, but I leave some Easter eggs for the
Mhm.
people. So I leave some Easter eggs, so they say, okay, probably someone of them will catch about Bitcoin. For example, today I went for dinner with two friends from Argentina that came to Hong Kong because they are traveling to China for business, and they were asking me and my business partner. I think you met him at the conference as well, the other Bitcoin libertarian, and they were asking us. I know I need to be on Bitcoin. I know I need to start putting money in Bitcoin, but I don't know how to start. So one day we're gonna meet there. Okay, I will explain everything, but this is because I'm putting some stuff, I'm putting about Bitcoin, and they
Mhm.
listen, and they then want to start learning.
It's the
And
best way possible. I totally agree.
yes, because if you push the people
You won't
then
get anywhere.
they it's like you force someone to do. For example, since I was a kid, I sometimes I was forced to eat fish. So and I was in Argentina and I was forced to eat fish, and I didn't like fish at that
No.
time. Then I moved to Asia, and now I eat a lot of fish.
Mhm.
So
Because you're
no,
not forced.
because I'm not forced. Like I see, I go, and I'm not forced. I know it's a stupid comparison, but can be good when you are not forced. For example, now I read more books and I study more than when I was at the university because I'm not forced, and I focus in the things that I really like. And you're bridging Bitcoin with human rights. Can you share a specific project or initiative where you've seen Bitcoin empower marginalized voices, perhaps through education or circular economies?
Of course. So over the summer, I went to the US and I had an internship with, well, I still have, I'm still working with them, with Paystand, and I work on their nonprofit organization. And my project while I was over there was to educate some high school graduates about financial education and give them an alternative, which was Bitcoin. So it was kind of like a Bitcoin 101 crash course. And it was in a marginalized community in California. Um, they were immigrant families. So they were very poor, they weren't listened to and not looked after, and they have to send back money every month to their families in South America. And teaching them about Bitcoin, you could just see it in their eyes. Their eyes lit up, and they were like, "This is so cool! I can send money very quickly and for very cheap to my family who needs it." And that was so inspiring to see. And then once you educate yourself, you understand that Bitcoin can solve so many issues, and not only just in the economic system, but also socially and politically. And that's what inspires me the most. So yeah, it was a great experience, and I'm still working with Pay Stands now. I've extended my offer, and and I'm working remotely for them from London. So yeah, very, very cool.
Nice. And what is the connection from between Bitcoin and human rights? I know what is the connection, but I want my audience to know about that.
The connection, what do you mean? Like what it can, like the role that it can play? Um,
Yes, of course. Like in the human rights.
so many, because Bitcoin is a decentralized, and borderless currency that governments can't touch. It can solve so many problems in, for example, authoritarian and totalitarian regimes. Um, Bitcoin is literally democracy. So it's a democratic concept, how it works, and everything. It can help in so many different ways. In activism, if you get your bank account frozen because you're going up against your government, then Bitcoin, for example, is a solution for you. Um, it's it of course solves inflation. And then if, for example, you want to send money to someone who needs it like right now, then you can use Bitcoin as well, or like after a natural disaster, for example, and they need money, instead of going through a charity, you can go peer to peer. So in so many different ways.
Yes, and I also say that I'm as a libertarian, I say
Mm-hmm.
that we respect. There is a quote that our president says that we respect the right to life and to property, and I think that Bitcoin is this human right that you have for property that nobody can take
Definitely.
you, because if you live in a country, for example, you can have a house, but if you live in a country when there is a war, of course, you lost your house. You cannot run.
Exactly.
If you run away, you cannot take your house. Or even if they come, as you said, a totalitarian regime, you can lose your house, you can lose your money. Remember
Hmm.
what happened with the truck drivers in Canada, that
Exactly.
they were they were receiving donations, and the Bitcoin that went through the exchanges or centralized platforms, they were taken out. But if you take your Bitcoin in you control your keys, you
Hmm.
have this basic human right to your property
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
is
Or
yours.
if you're fleeing the country, if you need to get out fast, you, a lot of people can't have cash on them because what if they get caught and get it confiscated, or you don't have access to your bank in a different country? Well, Bitcoin's also solves that issue as well. So yeah, it
Yeah.
is a basic human right.
Last week I talked with a guy, with a lawyer from Spain in our Spanish podcast, and he said that Bitcoin is your life insurance.
Hmm.
Bitcoin is like
It
a life
literally is.
insurance. Do you agree about that?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
And would you ever like to, for example, because there are a lot of projects that involve working with, like, again, marginalized communities, unbanked communities in Africa or Latin America. Would you like someday to work there? Because I don't know. I'm sure that you follow the job that Ella Hoff does.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, would you
Of
like to
course.
do something of what she does or her mother do?
Hmm. I would love to. Definitely. I love seeing the change before my eyes, and I could see that when I was teaching the kids in California. You could see the change in mindset and how it could really benefit them. So I would definitely like to be more involved in marginalized communities all over the world. And I mean everywhere really, because Bitcoin is needed everywhere, whether it's in the global north or the global south. So
And how can we make Bitcoin fun for teaching kids without dumbing it down?
uh, that's a very good question. It's hard because um, Bitcoin can be a very technical and hard concept to grasp. I still There's still loads of of stuff that I don't understand about it, that it's just way too complicated for me, so I just step away. Um, I think it's through what what worked best for me is I did an activity with the kids where I got them to open up a wallet on their phone and to send sats around the classroom, and then it's an activity, so they're getting involved. They're not only being talked at, they're participating in something, and you can see it happen right before your eyes. Um, and I think that's the best way. Learning from experience is so, so important. That's how I learn best. Obviously, it's very hard to learn from experience when it comes to Bitcoin, but there's little things that you can do.
Yes, because like sometimes you can lose money or you can lose the coins. It's difficult to
Mm,
learn from it, but there is always a test net where you can test and try and and
of
and and
course.
and whatever. And from again from a human rights perspective, how might Bitcoin help Gen Z in regions facing inflation, censorship, and in something so special that is the access of to property, to a house? Because in our in my parents' time, when they were my your age, they were about to get married and they have a house and no problem. But then it became more difficult to have a house, to cope with inflation, with censorship, and also thinking about retirement. How do you think about
Yeah,
that?
of course. I mean, like you say, it's literally a life insurance. I feel so much better owning Bitcoin than anything. And so of course, with censorship, I mean, a lot of governments are locking down on population these days, and you can see like they're starting to roll out CBDCs, and that's really scary. In the UK, they've just talked about passing digital IDs, so everyone will just like not have an ID, a physical ID anymore, but a digital one, and that's really really scary. So Bitcoin definitely is a way to combat that, and everyone needs to know about it, because it's so important, so so important.
And and how is your your friends, and because you understand the problems of CDBCs,
Hmm.
digital IDs, and all these things, because I'm sure you learn from your house. But how do your friends or your classmates react to? They know about the CDBC. What is a
Hmm.
CDBC? The risk of a digital ID. Do they know or they don't care?
Not really. It's something that so it happens very quietly, if that makes sense. Like the government will roll it out very, very quietly, and then all of a sudden you will have no freedom whatsoever. So it happens behind the scenes, and it's very, very hard to understand something if you don't think you need to. So yeah, that again is very scary. Or if they see something in the media, then they'll be like, right, okay. They don't think it affects them because they've got nothing to hide. Um, but it does affect everyone, and at the end of the day, you won't have any freedom. So,
That's the point. That's you nailed it when you say I don't have, I have nothing to hide. So that
mhm,
was the same what happened in the COVID. Like it's just putting a mask. It's just putting a
exactly.
vaccine. It's nothing. Doesn't cost anything. But
Mhm,
you give away freedom. You just give freedom. And when you give some freedom, you don't you don't get it back. It's like
no, exactly. It's gone. It's
so it
gone. And
probably
I feel like a lot of people also trust the system blindly. They just have so much trust in it. Like, why would they like to take away our freedom? Why they 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 don't ask themselves the right questions. But I feel like, and I hope my generation is a little bit different, and we're more aware, and we do try to ask
I
questions all the time.
that's the main point. Because again, as we with the excuse of I don't have anything to hide, for example, by I don't have also, but is again the human right to your
Yes.
privacy, to your
Yeah.
freedom, to your property.
Hmm. Privacy
Like
is it's extremely important, and a lot of people don't understand it. Um, Yeah.
That's the point. And talking about your next project, what do you envision? What are your plans in the Bitcoin space for the next, let's say, 5 years?
Um, I would definitely like to get more involved. I mean, I'm still in at university right now, so I'm balancing um, Bitcoin and everything that I'm doing at the moment with my studies. And at the moment, I'm really enjoying it. And then just like everything that I'm learning at university, I'm trying to look at it through a different perspective as well. And hopefully I would be able to apply that when I graduate and help and get involved as much as I can in the Bitcoin space. So exciting times, scary but
Yes,
exciting.
no, no. I think that's what I say. In the next 5 years, world is gonna change so much, like with AI, with Bitcoin, with all
Mhm.
the things that will happen. So are scary times, but at the same time are super exciting times. And I like I say that the years that will come in the future will be crazy. So I hope I
Mhm.
can live until I am 120 or something, so I can enjoy all the prosperity that Bitcoin is gonna bring to the world. I'm
To
super
everyone.
bullish on the future. So, and if you could give one piece of advice to a Gen Z listener curious about Bitcoin but intimidated by the tech, what would it be?
Just learn as much as you can. Take your time, watch YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, read a book, and find like try to connect Bitcoin to what you're interested in as well. And it can be anything. Like I said earlier, there's a space for everyone. Um, so yeah, it's just important to know why you're in the space. And then it will be much more easier for you to educate yourself and understand as well.
Excellent, excellent. And to start finishing the conversation, I have two more questions. The first one
Mhm.
is, how do you see the future of Bitcoin?
That's a good question. I have no idea. I hope, I do hope that everyone will get it and everyone will be using it and it will be in our everyday lives. Um, but yeah, we've still got a long way to go until that happens. And we just have to, people like you just have to keep on doing what you're doing and just spreading the word and educating as much as you can. I think we're on the right track. We're definitely on the right track.
Yes, we are here. We are keep doing because we love it. We love Bitcoin, and as I always say, we are trying to save people from the financial Armageddon. We
Yeah.
are trying to onboard people to the financial Noah's Ark that is Bitcoin. And the last question is, if you had the chance to sit down with Satoshi Nakamoto to have a coffee or a tea or whatever you want, what would you ask or say to him, her, or them?
That's a big question. First of all, I would thank them, say thank you. Um, and then, that's a really good question. Kind of ask what their initial goals were when they kind of like invented and set it up the Bitcoin. I think it would be really interesting to see if that lines up in today's world, or yeah, if that makes sense.
Excellent, excellent. And now you are going to Japan, right?
Yes, well, in November. I've just
In,
booked my flights today, actually. So very, very excited about that.
oh, you are flying from London to Japan, or there is a stopover in the middle?
No, London straight to Japan. It's going to be a long, long flight.
It's a long flight. But anyways, I live in Hong Kong. I'm from Argentina, so I'm really
That's
accustomed
crazy.
to very, very, very long flights, 30 hours flight. So amazing. So a pity because when you told me about the conference in Japan, I said, okay, I will go, but I
Mhm.
was invited to be a speaker at La VidConf. So let me put this a little bit of advertising. If you are going, anyone who is going to La VidConf in Buenos Aires, 7 and 8 of November in Costa Salguero Complex in the beautiful city of Buenos Aires, you can access to 30% discount in the tickets with using the code Libertarian. So if you go there, put the code Libertarian, get 30% access on the ticket, and you can meet me, you can insult me, greet me, whatever, take picture with me, no problem. You can see my speech. So that's the point. So Kaitlyn, thank you very much for your time. Anything else you want to add, and how people can contact you?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I was really, really excited for this. I think it's so cool what you're doing. And anyone feel free to get in touch on X. That's where I'm most active, and my Twitter handle is Kaitlyn Prince. I'm also on Orange Pill app, but I'm more active on X.
Excellent. It's a good way. It's a good place to learn Bitcoin. So, Kaitlyn, again,
Exactly.
thank you very much for your time. Keep doing what you are doing,
Thank you.
and I wish you the best for all your projects. And I hope to meet you in another conference and keep talking about Bitcoin.
Of course, please. Cool.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much. Bye.
And thank you very much to everyone who is on the other side. If you like the episode, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on social media. Share this episode with the people you love. Share this episode with the people you hate, because we must reach 8 billion people and onboard them to Bitcoin. Stay humble, stack sats, and remember, we are all Satoshi. And that's all for today. If you like the episode, please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media. Our X account is the Bitcoin _. Our YouTube channel is the Libertarian BTC. Our YouTube channel in Spanish is Libertarian BTC ESP. Our Patreon, the Bitcoin Libertarian. Our Instagram, the Bitcoin Libertarian. That's all. You can go there and follow us in all our social media.